that the knife movement works off the flow. We seldom stop. Okay? In other words, what I'm trying to get you guys to do with this drill is to be able to go from high line to low line to high line, and realize that the notion is to keep the flow going, okay? To keep moving. A quick illustration of this basic drill would be to sort of set into your subconscious that when you meet an obstacle, you don't stop and then try to go somewhere else. You just keep moving, okay, until you get to your objective. So if I thrust low, he stops. See? Stop me high. I go low. Stop me low. I go high. Okay? That sort of illustrates part of the purpose of this basic drill, okay, to keep you guys going low and high and low, low and high. The idea is you're not going to stop when you meet an obstacle, okay, and that you're using this up and down motion. Okay, that's one of our first simplest jabbing tactics with the blade, okay, and illustrate basic flow. All right, throw it back in hand. The purpose of the drum is what, Jim?
Keep the momentum of the drill going, change the momentum of the drill, and keep the flow moving.
Okay, right, to keep you guys moving, to speed you up, to slow you down, to break the rhythm of your movement occasionally too, right? Okay, so try to be real conscious, very aware of the drum, and how I'm trying to speed you up, how I'm trying to slow you down. If I start breaking the rhythm, you want to break the rhythm of your body cadence a little bit, okay? So get you from being too set a pattern. A little harder with these basic drills, I know, because it's a very set pattern. Okay, next principle we want to illustrate is slashing principle. What we're going to do is work the basic X pattern, the X being diagonal lines across the body this way and this way. Okay, what we want to work is our downward slash, our upward slash on this line. Okay, we want to work our upward slash here and our downward slash this way. All right. So the drill is we want to stay economical, right? We don't want to be flailing out here, or it would be hard to come back in. Okay. The purpose of this drill here again is to develop the person's ability to flow from one line or one angle of attack to another line or another angle of attack. And when we get into man-to-man training with it, the idea is to illustrate that when you hit an obstacle, you slash through, you flow around it, you go somewhere else. Okay? So, I'm going to work the X down and up, work the X down and up here. I'm not going way out here. I'm staying right within this imaginary rectangle or box right here. Okay? So I'm going to slash down and up, I'm going to slash up, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up. Okay, just work the basic X. Okay. Move. Attempting to thrust here, okay? I meet an obstacle, he blocks, I slash down. I'm attempting to thrust in, I meet an obstacle, I slash up. Okay? Practical application of that drill, right? Okay. Now what we've got is, we've got our X here, okay? We've got our straight line attacks here. So basically what's missing in our pattern, our geometrical pattern of angles of attack would be slashing the horizontals high and low. Okay, and also stabbing at the angle. Okay, basic principle, Kali principle with the knife. If I stab, it's generally going to be followed by a slash, right? If I slash, it's generally going to be followed by a stab. That's not a set rule, it's just a basic principle to make you understand it, that when you get to the limitation of one stroke, which might mean if I'm attempting a hook thrust on this side, he blocks it, by following through with the slash, it removes me from that halted position, okay, and it allows me to go somewhere else, okay. So now, well, the way we want to work it is, you can use either grip, by the way. We're going to work our high-low jab, okay, put it together, work the slashes, work the X, all right, okay. work your hook thrust, okay, on each side, all right? I want you to slash horizontal top, horizontal low, work your thrust in low, okay? Work them in the middle, all right? Work your X, put them all together. We'll start slow and we'll build up. Okay, put all the patterns together, just for the sake of illustration.
It's just random.
Right. But think of what you're doing, okay? Because you want to make sure you get in all the variables, all right? Okay. I will start off slow and I'll work you up. Okay, ready? All right, what we want to illustrate here first is vulnerability to knife attack. One of the ways I like to illustrate this and to instill a little bit of perhaps fear or at least respect is by putting a man on the wall. Basically here, okay? And as I said, illustrate to him, let him feel how hard it is to defend against this, okay? Very hard not to get cut, all right? Tell you what, I'll be nice on your arms, I'll use wood, okay, instead of the aluminum on this. It's impossible to avoid being cut. Yes, well, first thing you got to get the person to accept. The psychology of this is that, you know, they're going to have to accept the idea of being cut, all right? Here's one way to make them accept it fast, put them on the wall. Okay, you can come out just a little bit. All right, all I want you to do is I'm going to limit you to the space right here, okay? I want you to just try to deal with this just with your hands, all right? Just so you can feel how tough it is, all right? I'm not going to go real fast on you. I'm going to start all slow. I'll build up just a little bit, okay? Give you a feel for it, okay? Okay, I think we made our point. It's pretty hard to just stand there and be passive. You can see one thing right here, okay? You need mobility. I mean, you're not going to make it just with speed, okay? Basically, watch, I'll show you something else. If I go, I should be able to go pretty slow, and he can go as fast as he wants. I should still be able to cut the heck out of him just by utilizing the principles that we showed in the flow drills a little earlier. Yeah, hand sensitivity. When you feel an obstacle, you cut. And you feel for where the holes are and the gaps in his defense. Bang! When you can, you take a major. Okay, that time I took a carotid, okay? So once again, I can move slow. See, anytime anything's in your path, you cut it. You cut the minors, being the limbs, in order to get to a major, such as the artery, okay? All right, thanks. All right, what I'd like to illustrate now is a little bit of the basic principles of defending against an empty hand, okay? Here again, this is where it all happens, this range. I mean, this is where you're the most vulnerable because the guy can reach all your organs at arm's length, or even at a little bit less than full arm's length. One of the first things we try to teach people is, number one, that what you don't want to do is try to go block for stab, okay, or parry for stab. That's the best way to lose. Okay, even though we're teaching Kali principles on this tape, which is teaching a guy to flow whenever he just parry with me. To flow and cut whatever's in his way, cutting the minors or the limbs to get a major, right? Okay, the principle I've found in my research is that people do that a little bit instinctively anyway. They might not do it with as much precision or as much sensitivity and as much, like I say, as much precision as to where they're trying to attack, okay? But people do it instinctively. They slash, okay? So this is something that I find is generally applicable no matter what type of knife fighter you're against, unless it's just a total emotional kind of an attack, you know, not a person who's experienced it all. Okay. So what I want to illustrate is a couple things. We don't want to go parry or block for stab. That's the best way to lose, right? Because as soon as he parries and I go just stick with a static type block, I'm cut, okay? And here again, once again, you're going to get cut anyway, all right? The point is this. When he stabs, if I parry or block, the first thing I want to try to do is literally stick to his limb. If possible, 2 to 1. 2 arms to his 1 arm, all right? If not possible, when I do make contact, I don't want to do this because he's going to come back in and stab or slash and we're basically starting from the beginning again. So the point is, when he does stab, once I make that contact, ideally, like I say, I want to get in 2 hands, okay? But if I can't, I don't want to let go of the one I got if I can. I really want to stick with it, okay? And if he's moving it around, okay, just slash across. Fine. I at least want to try and keep a little more energy. It coming deeper. See? I want to at least stick to this arm. See, once I stick, even though when he forces me to have to lose contact with this arm, keep going. See, I want to take the place of it with the other one. Okay? So this is a basic drill that we do here. In some systems, they call it tapping. In some systems, they simply call it sticky parrying. Okay? What we do is we just let the guy feed the knife at the low line. We attach ourselves. We try to stick to it, okay? And he keeps slashing across that line. That's the starting point for the drill. And teaching the guy that when he loses on one side, he switches to the other. Okay, now what we're almost always looking for, especially in leading up to disarms, is what we call a gunting, there again a Filipino term, or a scissors. Okay, the scissor action. Let me leave out the ing on that, okay? Because here again, you get 2 hands to 1, okay? You've got better opportunity for control, okay? That was a inside arm strip, we call it, okay? Lock up one joint, lock up a second joint, take it out, all right? We'll go back to the disarms. That's really not the main thing right now. I just illustrate how it comes in. So if he stabs, like I said, I don't want to do open parries and lose that contact. If I do any parry, I want to stick, okay? And I'm immediately going to go from sticking from one angle to sticking to another angle, all right? And ideally, what I'm going to try to do is lock up 2 joints. See, the problem is if he attacks and I stick and I go for locking 1 joint, okay? I might have a nice little wrist lock here, right? Well, he can still move here, see? Bang, he's hitting me in the face with this, he's kneeing me in the groin, he's elbowing me, he's headbutting me. He might reach out and bite off my lip, who knows, okay? But the point is, if I've only got 1 joint lock, he can move too much, okay? Even just from this particular lock, going into the disarm, if I take it a little further and I lock up this one, it's a lot harder for him to move, okay? So the simple rule is if I get two joints locked on the arm I'm trying to disarm, I got a pretty good chance of disarming the guy, all right? Or at least controlling him, at least temporarily, okay? If I lock up 3, I succeed, all right? There again, not necessarily always, because if I can't keep that long enough to get to what my goal is, which right there was the takedown, and he moves, in other words, I've got 3 locked. If he comes forward, now I've only got 2 locked, and we're struggling again, okay? So the principle is, 1, 2, if you lock 3, you better take it right away, okay? Strip, all right? Okay. So, first thing we try to teach, take the cuts on the arms, okay? Try to minimize the cuts to the body. A couple ways we do it is, first thing we teach a guy, he's up against, like I said, we like to put him against the wall to really cut his mobility so that at first he can't depend on his legs. We get him against the wall, the guy comes in, say, with some kind of thrust, and I block, okay? He goes to cut my arm, he goes to move somewhere else, he's going to body shots, just flowing on me slow and stabbing and slashing, okay? Right now, I'm going to let him cut my arms. Right now, what I'm trying to enhance is that I'm flowing with the hand that has the blade, okay? And I'm trying to keep my arms in, I'm trying to cover my vitals as much as I can, which means raising my shoulders, it means pulling my chin down, I'm trying to protect my throat as much as just keep flowing, stabbing, slow, just keep flowing, right? I'm trying to protect everything that I can, all right? Right now, I'm not doing anything offensive. You have to teach people sensitivity to this and to what it feels like, okay? And to feel the vulnerability and to feel how much they have to cover, especially in a situation like this where I basically have to face him full frontal. I have to really protect the vitals, okay? Notice how my hands are outstretched and they're staying open. That is, if he comes up to the throat and suddenly slashes to the throat, the idea is to collapse in and cover the throat with the hands, okay? Take it on the hands, not on the throat, all right? One of the basic principles. So a lot of times, okay, you can pull on me a little faster now. So a lot of times when you cut my arms and stuff, okay, stab and cut, come on, loosen up. Tell you what, I think you're intimidated by this. Get the wooden dowel. I think you're afraid to move because of that thing, because of marring you. Okay, stab and slash. So let the guy just practice trying to stick to the guy's arm as much as he can. Come on, loosen up. Come on. Go high sometime. Okay? Now you notice here I'm really trying to, well, if one arm has to go out, okay, to deflect him, I'm really trying to keep one in, and I'm trying to keep my everything condensed down more, okay? Alright? Same thing goes here. If he drops down to the groin, the idea is one arm's going to cover here, the other arm's going to try to maintain contact, okay? In this type of training, we're always very careful to try and cover vital spots. Anytime we don't, not see, but anytime we feel that the guy's getting close to a vital area. That's somewhat instinctual. It's not that hard to teach someone to do, okay? And by doing this without a structured pattern, it adds combat reality right away, right? It gets out of having two set of patterns. We like to keep it a little bit set in the beginning by keeping it on this low line because it's easy for the guy to flow with that. When he comes up on the high line, now slash across the throat. See, it's harder. The guy gets his arms cut more. See, like this, right? See, he has to be more flexible to go with the high line. See, okay. So he has to have better sensitivity. So that's a little bit more, or not more advanced, but requires a little bit better sensitivity and a little bit better hand manipulation. Okay. All right. Okay. Generally, the next step I would take would be to try and get the person thinking a little bit more actively, okay, about, while defending themselves, how to be a little bit more offensive with the other hand. Okay, so now let's say he thrusts up here, and I catch with this one, okay, and he slashes low, all right, and I flow with it, right? Well, this hand's free, okay? So there are a couple things you can do. One is you can, obviously the person could be attacking the face, okay? A lot of what we like to do, and for one thing because it's more vulnerable, is we like to attack the limb with that open hand because that's the one controlling the blade, okay? So a good example would be here, an ideal shot would be, for one thing in this position it's nice because I have 4 limbs to 2. Okay, it fits in with our basic zoning principles, which I'll get into a little bit more in a minute, but that's more ideal because with 4 limbs cut down more predominantly just to this side, it's a little easier for me to control, it's a little easier for me to be more offensive. But an ideal shot here would be, again, it's sort of this scissorsing action, okay? One's controlling here while the other one's attacking. Bang, I'm attacking a nerve point here. Alright, I could perhaps be pulling him and locking him out a little more and actually attacking the joint. Alright, everybody's seen this. Depending on how quick he is, how much he's changing the extension of his limb. If he pulls back and I'm sensitive, I'll follow him. That's okay, I'll just take the bicep, okay? Or that's okay, I'll just take the nerve on the shoulder, alright? The idea is, motor dysfunction, right? To tighten him up, to really slow down what he can do with this arm, make it easier for me to get the knife away, or to send it back at him. If that happens to be my goal. That's extremely offensive. So here again, the guy's attaching, okay? Basically taking any hits I can get. Neck, all right? Attack the bicep, attack the arm, attack the shoulder, okay? A little bit higher level later, after we get the person comfortable with limb attacks, while one hand's controlling, one hand's attacking the limb, we go into snaking moves, okay? In order to take the person down and to lock them up, all right? That's slightly more advanced because the person has to be more precise to do that than just a hit, okay? All right. The zoning principle, okay, that I mentioned a minute ago. On the zoning principle, ideally what I'm going to do is if I have the room, like I said earlier, I want to try to put 4 limbs to 2, all right, and also to remove more of my vital organs out of the line of his attack, okay. Generally, my goal is to work my way more behind him, where I can be attacking vulnerable spots, palm slaps to the spine, okay, back of the head, all right. I can be going for, well, not on this guy so much, but normally hair pulls. I can be going for ear pulls, anything to break the balance, all right, and to take him down, and then here again to lock up the limb wielding the weapon, okay. All right. So the zoning principle, footwork, all right. Basically what we use an angular movement. So, and here again, watch. Notice the scissoring motion. When I get to the limit of the reach that I have at this particular angle, and I'm about to lose contact, the other one goes in. A lot of times we do a drill like this. He throws hit, combine stickiness with strikes, okay? And sometimes we'll get a little pattern. This one's going to parry, this one's going to hit, this one's going to stick, the one that just hit, this one's going to hit, and we just kind of climb the ladder, working our way into the major targets, up from a minor or a limb, okay? That's obviously not practical to hit 4 or 5 times, although it could happen. But the idea is just to teach the person the illustration of when one's about to lose its contact, or initially while one's making contact, another one's striking, okay, or attempting to grapple, all right, and goes from that to stickiness, to hit, okay. Now here again, that looked funny because I'm leaving the knife out here, okay. Like I said, that's just to illustrate climbing the ladder, but I'm going to have to be controlling. I'm going to have to be controlling to stop from getting cut with this the whole time, okay? So one has to be there, and ideally 2, okay? And here again, if I'm not zoned properly, see I'm facing this hand particularly, and this elbow, and this knee, okay? The minute I go to here, it cuts down on his ability to hit me from there, and obviously this all becomes part of the dynamic exchange of the whole situation because we know that by him turning right here, he's back in range. So then that's why the notion is I keep trying to work my way behind him to stay zoned from that side as much as possible. And if you notice, this hand is remaining sensitive to his other hand too. I'm actually reaching over, touching and monitoring it, sort of trapping its motion. Okay. So now he's going to force me to go a different direction. There's a lot of sensitivity required at this range, especially with the blade. All right. And the blade's good at teaching people sensitivity who don't even particularly care about knife defense tactics. All right. Okay, that basically illustrates the principle of zoning. At this especially. The notion of this monitoring or the stickiness. All right, this is of extreme importance because without the initial contact, you can't have as much, nor can you do any type of disarming tactic, right? So a lot of times what we'll do is let the guy just kind of, at this range, stab and slash, and all you're trying to do is stick to his arm to control, to monitor. Sometimes you do light hits, okay, elbow hits, all right? But the idea is just to really enhance and teach this stickiness principle, okay? And to teach it with a little bit of dynamic action without necessarily knowing exactly how he's going to react. But in the beginning, just limiting it to right here, which is really where it all happens anyway, okay? So that's one of the first things we do. Let's see. Okay, normally in the escalation of the training, and obviously this happens over a little bit of a period of time, we're sort of rushing it just to kind of squeeze in all the principles and the build-up into disarming. He thrusts, here's the parry action, right? One thing that's real important is, if you get to this point, all right, seldom would you ever want to go back out. If you get this far, especially if you've got 2 to 1, you want to go in rather than go out. So in other words, let's say he thrusts, and I parry and he draws, I parry out this far and he draws back. I want to follow him in at an angle rather than go back out, because then we're starting the whole confrontation again. It's going to be harder for him to get me in here, okay, than it's going to be if I do this and I'm moving out. I'm better off going in because he's going to keep coming in, he's going to keep stabbing, he's going to keep cutting me to pieces, okay? So once I get to this point, I'm set up more or less to go into a disarming mode, okay? Now there's a lot of things that can be done with the legs too that we teach at a slightly more advanced level. Attacking the upper part of the leg with the knee, okay? Go for the nerve shot back here, all right? A lot of times what we'll do is when we get in here, we do what we call sticky legs a lot of times, all right? Because if you stick to the man's leg or you trap his foot, it's pretty hard, number one, for him to move away from you and gain a distance advantage whereby he can come in and thrust. And it also puts you in a position where you can control his ability to escape, all right? And also you can get in where you can mess with his balance. Because from here, if I insert here, see, there's my sweep, all right? Right down, okay? So it's possible to achieve the same thing, like I showed earlier, and hopefully cause some major Charlie horsing. You have the leg, by just in entering that range, it's trying to stick with it. I enter with an attack to the back of the leg, okay? If it has this effect, great, I'm really set up to hook his foot and ride him down, okay? If nothing else, he comes in, I'm great, I get to here. If nothing else, if I can at least step on his foot, it gets me there, all right? The next goal would be to get here. See, there's a lot of ways to take his leg down, okay? You got to watch it when you take the leg down because you can see what can happen here. See, that's why right away I drop down and sandwich it between my hand and my leg because you don't want it between your legs. It's a reflex reaction, okay? All right. So the principle is go in, don't go back as much as you can. All right. Now, basic disarming, okay? A lot of ways to disarm. One of my particular favorites, because it tends to be a little bit quicker, and I find that it can work based on whatever position the knife's in. In other words, rather than trying to teach a technique approach, like this is technique number 1, okay, and come over here, and this is technique number 2, okay, it puts it in more of a difficult to remember situation. It's too technique for technique. It doesn't flow that way. But it rather teaches the principle of the disarm and then teaches it based on slight modifications of wherever the guy's hand position is when he's attempting to stab or slash you, okay? So, if he's coming in a straight line, I'm zoning and I'm parrying here, okay? What we call a strip this is one way, ideally, to go to the thumb. So like I'm parrying, I'm grabbing, I'm pulling, going to the thumb, okay? Turning the wrist back in towards him. The other hand comes against the flat part of the blade and strips. Okay? That was the extremely precise way to do it, all right? It could be here, just taking the hand, just coming across, into the guy across the blade. It's one of the quickest knife disarms I know that doesn't require, see, I can be here, all right? I could potentially be here on the wrist, okay? And not even necessarily have a real good lock control. But if I come across here with enough force, I can perhaps make him lose a blade. Depends on how strong his grip is. It also has a lot to do with, he parries, bang! Did I cause some dysfunction there? Okay. All right. Sometimes you have to stun the guy. And that's why I say it's important, really, if you're going to really teach somebody how to set this up, to be attacking the limbs almost all the time. Even the low kicks here. Foot stomping. Inflict some pain to loosen this up, okay? To get the attention from his intention to a more of a defensive or a shock reaction intention, okay? So here again, I might be here. Just going to grab, get him to go away from the strength of his grip, okay? Forearm's good to use. It can also be used here. Side of the hand against the flat of the blade, all right? Now, here again, illustrate the idea of just slight modifications based on these. Let's say he's hook thrusting over this way. Catch here, right? Okay, that's okay. Just pull down, strip it in. All right? Maybe he's hook thrusting from the side, okay? Take it in a position, bang, strip it. All right? Say he's coming up the middle like a sneaky Pete. Okay, here. See, it's almost like the first one. There's really not a super big difference. He comes with an overhand grip, right? He comes here, here. The idea is to try to lock up the wrist if you can. Just take the forearm across it. It might look too precise. It's really not, because a lot of disarms have been taught over the years require that you have to be on the thumb. You have to have the wrist locked just perfect. Well, this allows you to be a little more dynamic, because you can hit the arm anyway, slide roughly into the area of the wrist, not even necessarily have it locked up. But if you know the principle of going against the wrist joint and sending the knife in towards him, you don't necessarily have to have that tight, because when you put the pressure of the forearm on, it's going to lock the wrist up in itself, okay? If you happen to be good enough, or you happen to be lucky enough to get further down here on the hand and actually be able to lock this up, well, good, that's even better. But it's hard, okay? When we do this in full flow, where the guy's really resistant, it's extremely tough to do that. But I find that this stuff, okay, you're moving, bang, you're hitting the guy. You can get it, okay? Because for one thing, you're offsetting him with a lot of blows. You're hitting him, boom, you strip it out. So I would consider that basic strip probably the simplest disarm, and it's the one I teach more than any other. Only other thing we might get into is we get into more advanced manipulations where we'll go more into full joint locking tactics, okay? You get him all, hang on to it tight. You get him all locked up, and sometimes you just go with the lock, okay? To then manipulate him into a position. You can go with your thumb control, make him drop the blade, all right? We could go into a lot of others, but I think that's the best one to work first and the simplest. Like I said, it requires less precision than any others I've ever seen. Okay. What I'm basically saying is that I feel it's more important to illustrate the attributes, the feel of how a knife moves at this range. The attributes being really one of the major ones being sensitivity to the person's movement and being able to stick to the person, okay? In other words, to go in and to stick to him rather than to keep trying to move away. That's really asking for trouble. The guy's going to follow you and he comes after you. Try it. Put on a little bit of armor. Put on a chest protector. Take one of these doggone things. Try to cut each other up and find out real fast. You keep backing away, you're really buying it. Better to buy a couple slashes on the arm and go in tight. Headbutt the guy to death, okay? You can do skin pulling techniques, okay? Pinching. What basically all I'm doing here is I'm grabbing the skin, and it's real hard to resist this, okay? If the guy has on a heavy coat, it's fine. You just don't get the pain infliction necessarily so much if he's got a heavy coat, but the same thing works. The heavy coat or jacket will do just what the skin will do. As you pull it, he's going to have to go with it. Simple principle of physics, okay? But the main thing I wanted to show you, we do some drills, some other drills to increase sensitivity that are pretty simple to teach. And they teach a person the notion of 2-to-1 contact, okay? 2-to-1 contact. Well, one that we borrow from the Filipinos called hubad, okay? Deep thrust at this angle, all right? Teaches a person to use a scissors motion, okay, to counterattack, okay? Could be attacking with the chops in the neck here. That's not really the point. The really point is to illustrate that as this thing changes, I'm always going to try to keep 2 hands to 1, okay? So we started off just working it on this simple pattern. Okay? He's stabbing and slashing across wherever he can. Okay? We can also do this. He comes on the low line. Okay? I showed this earlier, right? Okay, he goes on the low line again. Alright? So it's teaching me to stick, it's teaching me to keep forward pressure and to keep from leaving a big gap there where he can get in on me. Okay. He goes back high again. Okay. Now another thing you can do with this too, then you're training both guys at the same time to be sensitive to the blade. Okay? He does hubad. I did it. This makes it tougher too because you got something in your hand. But it makes both guys have to be more honest. Both guys have to be more aware. Later on, you start adding in some more sensitivity training, which is you get here, you cut the guy's hand, and you thrust in here. Cuts, he comes back. You cut, back in your hubad, you cut, you're cutting the arm every chance you get. And the guy's allowing you to cut the arm because it teaches acceptance of the cut. Okay? Second, passing down low. Boom. He slices back low. We go back high. This is a very simple pattern. You can teach the pattern and you can teach the person awareness of the cutting. Probably for purely defensive tactical purposes, you might want to work this more often than not with empty hand against knife. But it's still good to do knife to knife, because if the person doesn't understand how to manipulate the blade himself, he doesn't have full sensitivity to another person doing it. He has to have one in his hand. He has to have a full feel for how the whole thing works. Okay.
You guys aren't that good at wrestling. You have to drop on them. Keep going. We're not so worried. You know, like I heard it in the office more times. Like American martial arts is more. You see it in boxing. You see it in both countries. They always punching too. Well, you know, a lot of Asians are more oriented down here. You know, the idea of the 1 point, you know, there's stuff there, and then you can take that to the weird another step, like wrestlers, though, in this country are oriented to the legs a lot. They also tie up at the head quite a bit, too. They go to the legs a lot, too, so that the change is switching back and forth in mentalities, and people just aren't like one another.
Yeah.
Plus, the other thing is, too, a lot of these guys are sitting here and they're like, they know from experience, if they kick a punch or a kick on the way in, unless they run into a square, they're not going to get hurt as bad, and they might not get hurt at all. Because what happens is the guy starts going kicking, the guy moves and it jams it, you know? It jams it right away. Same thing with, I was actually saying kick, same thing with the punch, right? And, you know, either way, it's like, you're moving in. And a guy will just do this. Even I've seen guys just, they don't even punch it, or they're not even punchers.
Yeah.
They just cover up and they move in, because from having guys punch them, they know that if they move in, that it jams the punch and it dissipates. They understand zero pressure without realizing what it is in the concept. That if they're moving on the inside of a motion that gets hit in here is not going to nail them. They have to be out here. And they know that if they just start rushing, that they're not going to get them, because their force is too much. It's their whole body force. I've seen it all the time. They come in and a lot of times when they get here, they go right to this. Boy, super big tie-up, super big clinch. They've got two hands and they're doing all this stuff, almost like in Thai boxing. You know?
Yeah.
Except that they'll grab and they pull you down, or they grab here and they start this stuff. Start throwing you from the head. Wrestlers know that's the number one pivot point too.
Yeah.
Just like Ray Hartzell teaches in a lot of the Kali, that if you go to the head, you guys got to follow it, right? We normally start from a combination of dropping low and working leg takedowns to going high to the head too. See, because remember, all this stuff, all these things, right?
Mm-hmm.
All these blocks, you know, all this stuff is really nice, okay, because the idea is to control a guy. Controlling a guy at the highest level, remember, okay?
Right.
And, you know, if you don't have the super perfect attributes, just really set them up and get into all this stuff, and then really have extreme sensitivity, because the reason for the extreme sensitivity is, if you, let's say you threw a punch back, and I go right to this, see, right away you're going to tighten up and you start reacting to it, things change. So my attributes have to be so high, my timing has to be so good, I have to offset you so well to get that. And it has to be almost incidental. If it's not there, I can't have it, can I?
No.
And that's why I have to understand how it flows from one pivot point to another point. Because if that comes out and I go for it, and I'm trying for this, and you just come on here and wipe my arm off, and it's gone, see, I got to know how to go somewhere else right away. And go to a whole different type of takedown, right? Or to go here, right? You know, and you know how to break it down, so that's your mind has to be able to flow to so many places so quick. That's why that kind of stuff, especially the highest level. So, like I said, I started on a more open and a more normal street type level, which is this stuff. This is the highest. Always.
Yeah, I can see it. I can see it.
It's a lot harder, for sure. So there's other ways. One is, okay, there are other ways to attack the arm that you don't have to be as precise. One will be, let's say the punch comes out. If I can just get to here, okay, I can grab almost anywhere here, alright? See how my hand just happens to be underneath, okay? Anywhere I grab, if I can step in here, pull this way. Call an arm grab. See, I put you in a great position too. And then I start controlling from here. See, and I can lock you down, okay? Now that's one from Western wrestling. I used to score like a son of a gun with that. Because my hands are fairly quick. So see, that's it. See, it's just on a grosser level.
Yeah.
Anywhere you grab, right, as long as you can get to this point and get your body in here, you got to go. See, it doesn't require, like, all this has to be all locked up here, you know, all the real precise positions and stuff. Now it's an arm drag. Just requires 3 basic things. Having a grip somewhere in here, below the elbow. Having another hand inserted somewhere in here. Even can be just right here with your arm in form, right? And getting your body in here and taking the momentum back. Really 3 things. Grab it from here, grab it inside here somewhere.
The hand should be all the way through.
Ideally, yeah. But see, what's nice is, you know, all this is so precise. This I've got, as long as I get anything from here and anything from here to here, and get my body in the back, see, it's just on a little bit grosser level. Highly effective.
Yeah.
So, just put it, here, I'm going to put some just put it in here. Okay. Yeah, you grab it, right? Right, now all you would have to do now is step in, right, and pull your weight back and pull.
Now is that enough, Chuck?
Yeah. And then the only other thing is, the trickiest part is getting a feel for how to keep the guy more to the outside of you, so that you've got room to follow him down and roll over on him.
He controls it well when you did it.
Right, so see, if I'm here, as I'm taking down, as I get you going,
he's dropping.
see, you know, see how, once you're down, see, I start to roll right away, so that I can stay in the control position. See, use your knees, lock the guy out. Cops like this, when they use this to get cuff the guy.
Oh, that's
The 2 knees, to see, you get the head and the body go up, the guy's pretty well pinned. He starts getting up on you, you start going.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, start putting pressure there.
Yeah, well, you dropped your entire body.
I took everything right. It gives me some insurance because I'm used to guys being bigger than me all the time.
So, okay,
So I put my whole body in it.
now I just have to hold it here, right? Now from here.
Yep.
Okay, well, from here I'm way over that. Shouldn't be.
Well,
straddle.
it's not necessarily that bad.
You're probably use your inner thigh.
Yeah, you can. Anytime you put that bone and pin something, it's good. You know, you just put pressure on the guy and pin him up.
You can get in trouble being high. Behind and having your body up high. Unless you really got the guy in a super locked out position, like when you got the guy in his face, and you got a knee on his head and he is, by then you can be up high. But if you got him on his back, you got to be careful about being high above him, because if you're high, there's a lot of space and room for him to move his arms. So like you punching up at him, reaching up and grabbing him and stuff. So normally one of the principles we use is when a guy's on his back, if you take him down and he's on his back, see, if I'm up here high trying to work you, right? So you've got so much play in your arms and your legs have so much freedom. So what I want to do is I want to go down tighter. I want to condense that down so that you have a lot harder time manipulating your arms and getting to me. See? Then normally what they'll do is they'll start working up to the head. You know, getting up to the head, start using the head. See, twisting the head to control the guy, right? Then there's a lot of other stuff you can do too. It's just giving you the principles.
Yeah.
So see, that's a whole other way to approach attacking the arm off of a punch. It's simple. Something you can probably do right now with a little bit of practice and do pretty well. You can just have a guy firing punches at you and just practice doing it. Right? That's almost like you are doing this and going here. That's what I used to practice. I used to just go here and make a small circle, open it up, right? What I would do is I would circle and come in here, zone from that, and step in right here and go. I can even step in back here and go.
Oh, that's not. Yeah, that's got a lot more than that. I guess depending on where you're at.
And I'm used to really cranking and putting my body, because I'm used to almost always having guys 40, 50 pounds heavier when that you run into. So that's that arm drag one. So you can play with that.
Yeah.
Another way, staying on the gross level, is leg shots. I'll tell you what, leg shots are effective, but you got to really be careful, because when you're down here, elbow drops and stuff, right? And if you don't know what you're doing, once you get down, a guy sprawls on you. You know what I mean by
Yeah,
sprawl?
he drops.
Yeah. Things get real tough. And if the guy's bigger, it's hard. It's real dangerous shooting the leg takedowns if you really aren't trained, because you don't know what you're doing.
Does size have something to do with, like, you know, okay, we're both the smaller size, we're dealing with
It's not so
bigger.
bad.
Is it more effective for a bigger guy or what?
I would say it's generally more effective with the smaller guy.
Or
Yeah, because for one thing, them big guys with the legs are so heavy. Okay, and you've got your whole weight down there. Hell, I've had big guys where I've tried it on them. They just drop their ass on top of them and they pancake them.
really? How do you stay away from
They just go, and you can't handle their weight on your back, you know.
Yeah.
I did it to a guy one time, but I set him up good first. Bang, bang, boom! Good rear cross belly shot. Then I took him down.
It's the old Kali rule. Set them up first, you know.
Yeah.
Get their concentration somewhere else. Get some pain inflicted, and then go through your takedown. That's still a good general rule. You know, real good. I have found that I can insert this arm drag off of a punch. You know, if the punch extends enough, you know, just like that. So, circle down, zoning away from that. Normally, when I come in, I go ahead and just touch him on it, and see him and just stand right on through. Going right through. Sometimes I don't even grab it. I just slide it on up and sandwich it right into it, and crank down.
That's a nice move.
It's just modified. I modified all the grappling stuff I've gotten. Because first it was Western style wrestling, and then Aikido. Okay, I'm going to give you some of that Aikido stuff I modified too, because it's really not too hard to make work. I do it a little different. They orient most of their stuff like, one of the biggies is the guy throws a punch.
Right.
Okay, you had some of this stuff?
I've
Are you seeing it?
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, I think so.
Well, I've got a different way of doing this. It's grossly different. They've got some throws too where they enter to the head and they throw. Okay. Problem is it's too hard to resist. I mean, it's too easy to resist. So basically, what I've done is one of my major Aikido modified takedowns that I find it works pretty well is when this one comes out, instead of going here and doing all this crap, right? You get nailed and having you just go limp and it doesn't work, right? If I go in tight, it doesn't work. I'll parry here, and I kind of combine this motion, in a sense, with this motion, but I use my body here. I go here, I step in this way, and just walk through.